So I think we can all agree communication is important in most aspects of life. And one thing I see come up time and time again, people struggling with, is avoidance, ghosting people. I get nobody likes having a hard conversation. Nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings. Typically, most people don't. There are some that do, obviously. But in general, we're not looking to make somebody feel bad or hurt somebody's feelings. So sometimes it feels just easier to not talk about it, to walk away. But let me tell you, as somebody who sits on a couch across from other people, I hear all the time about how hurtful this behavior is. You know, most of the time people just want some form of closure. They'll prefer that over just not knowing. That not knowing drives them more crazy than a little sliver of closure, even if it is something that they don't want to hear or might hurt in that moment. They prefer that over not knowing. So, as adults, you know, I think that's something that we can strive for is trying to not hurt people. The least amount possible, at least. So, if there is a difficult conversation, or you're not wanting somebody in your life, or you're needing to have better boundaries, try to not just avoid, not to just ghost. With the caveat of like, if it's abusive or there's danger, of course, that might be the best option. But if we're dealing with normal interactions, you have some form of relationship connection with a person, um, and you just decide that that friendship connection is no longer in the best interest for you, don't just avoid the conversation or don't just ghost them. Let them know. Trust me, it is much nicer. It's better received. It allows them to move on. That unknowing for people is torture. So push yourself to just let people know how you're feeling and what you're needing. And if you outgrow something, that's okay. We outgrow things all the time. We don't have to keep everybody in our life just because we had them in our life at one moment. Sometimes we do outgrow them. Sometimes we move on. Sometimes we want different things, and that's okay. Um, and I get that, you know, it can be hard, but just try to be kind about it and honest and keep it simple and short and probably more fact based than emotional. Sometimes the longer we go on rambling can cause confusion. We can be unclear about what we're wanting, or we start to feel bad. So we backtrack. So think facts. You know, what are you needing? What are you wanting? What does it look like moving forward? Um, Simple. And I one question I get a lot of times too is, well, I don't want to say this to their face and I'd rather text them or email them. And some people are like, you know, that's not cool. You should be able to have that conversation face to face. But if you're not comfortable, if that doesn't feel good to you, a text or email is better than nothing again. You know, if that's the form of communication you feel best in, then send it. And once again, this isn't an emotionally charged text or email. This is just more of a factual email stating what your boundaries are, where you are in the connection, and if it is going to remain at all or not. That option is much better, once again, than just that avoidant or ghosting and leaving the person in this unknown um, situation. Now, if you really don't have any connection or tie to a person and you met them once or twice or had one or two conversations and you're just like, I don't really want to talk to them anymore. A lot of times, space or distance is enough for a person to tell, oh, they don't want to talk to me anymore, which is fine. Now, if they reach out and are like, hey, where'd you go? What happened? Once again, just try to be honest, quick, simple, in and out. This conversation really isn't working for me anymore. Sorry, not looking to continue this, right? In and out and just be done with it. So, anyways, if possible and it's safe, and we're not talking about abusive or dangerous situations, try to avoid being avoidant or ghosting people and just being honest about how you feel and what you're wanting, because your feelings matter and you're allowed to have them. I hope that helps. Take care.